Next on the news, they lived together and now their funerals will be together 1 week after the devastating Bronx blaze. A promise that a fire like that will never happen again. Proposals for new federal regulations, how you can keep yourself safe and hold the city accountable. And a Good Samaritan tried to give his coat to a homeless person, but instead he was attacked. Why the suspect probably won't see any jail time. Plus, that package you ordered, it may never come. Thieves in Los Angeles raiding cargo trains for months. A modern-day great train robbery that police can't stop. I'm Christine Persichetti. Currents News starts right now. The funeral arrangements are set. Most of the victims of that deadly Bronx fire will be laid to rest together. A communal funeral is being planned for this Sunday. We'll have more on those details in a moment. But first, the Fordham Heights community is still reeling from the fire. One family who managed to escape is sharing their harrowing experience. Currents News' Jessica Easthope says their faith is stronger now than ever before.
Guillermo, Maxwell, and Marta Sanchez lost everything, but today they're counting their blessings.
It could have been anybody. It could have been any one of us. By the grace of God, we managed to get out of the building.
When the flames broke out, Marta Sanchez thought her husband and son were dead. She was at her parish, St. Simon's Stock, when she got a call from a neighbor that brought her to her knees.
I said, my family died. So I said, God, you know how much I believe in you. Take care of my family.
The family wasn't reunited until after Guillermo and Maxwell waited for hours for firefighters to help them navigate the thick black smoke. The Sanchezes are one family of hundreds who are being assisted by local organizations and Catholic Charities of New York.
They will not travel and walk alone.
Lord God, we need your help.
Local parishes and food pantries are getting together donations, and Catholic Charities is assisting with everything from burials to housing and immigration services. But Father Eric Cruz says the first step is letting them know help is on the way.
We can't just dive in. We have to just touch them first and let them know that we're here for you and we're not going anywhere.
Despite their loss, the Sanchez family says they're the lucky ones.
The screams from the neighbors keeps replaying in my head. It definitely strengthened all of our faith in God, and I don't know. We just have so much to be thankful for.
The Sanchezes haven't heard if they'll be able to return to their home or if there's a home left. But for now, they're continuing to thank God. Jessica Easthope, Currents News.
Now more on that communal funeral being held for the remaining 15 victims. They all had ties to Gambia and were practicing Muslims. Their bodies began arriving at a Queens funeral home on Thursday. They were cleansed and wrapped according to Islamic tradition. A prayer service will be held at the Islamic Cultural Center this Sunday, January 16th. That's on 371 East 166th Street in the Bronx. The service will begin at 10 a.m. In the wake of this citywide tragedy, Brooklyn Bishop Robert Brennan is offering words of hope that the Lord is with you even in times of sadness.
God is there with us in every single tragedy. God loves us so very much and shares those burdens, those sorrows with us.
Bishop Brennan is encouraging Catholics who wish to help to donate to the families in need. Catholic Charities Archdiocese of New York is currently trying to help the victims with both short and long-term needs. You can go to CatholicCharitiesNY.org to donate to their efforts. And if you or someone you know is a victim, you can contact Catholic Charities on either their helpline 888-744-7900 or go to CatholicCharitiesNY.org/find-help. In the meantime, local officials are still looking for answers into what exact conditions led to the fire and what can be done so that it never happens again. Busted smoke alarms, broken ovens, mold, and malfunctioning exhaust fans are just a few of the horrors identified by city inspectors during recent reviews of the building. And in hopes of addressing those issues, officials are introducing legislation that will mandate shut-off switches for space heaters and require self-closing apartment doors in all housing developments that receive federal funding. The proposed policies come as the FDNY explains that space heaters were to blame for the fire, saying multiple space heaters had been running for days in the apartment. Firefighters reportedly made the discovery as they sifted through rubble of the duplex apartment in the 19-story building. They also say 2 faulty doors didn't automatically close, allowing smoke to quickly pour into hallways and stairwells. I spoke with retired FDNY Deputy Chief and President of the New York Fire Consultants and New York Fire Safety Institute, James Bullock, about what you can do to stop a fire from spreading.
Well, as far as the doors goes, if you're leaving your apartment where that's on fire, you should make sure the door is closed, not locked, but closed. And normally, there should be a self-closing device on the door that would pull the door closed. But over time, the dirt could form into the hinges and all, and it will stop the door from fully closing. And building management are required to test that self-closing device once a year.
So if you're told to stay in your apartment and you start seeing smoke inside your apartment, what should you do?
Well, you want to try to stop the smoke from coming in. You can put towels around the front door, the apartment door. You can go to the bathroom. Sometimes there's a vent. You could put some kind of a tape or something to stop smoke from coming in the vent. And then you can go to your window. Open the window, a third from the top, a third from the bottom. If no smoke comes in, leave it open. If smoke comes in, then you close it. And you just try to stay away from the smoke by staying away from the door where it's coming in.
Absolutely. Now, this was an old building, but there are a lot of old buildings in the city. So what's something that people can look for maybe in their apartments or in their buildings to make sure they'll be safe in case there's a fire?
Well, you want to make sure that you don't have the fire. You don't want to do things that could cause fire. And fire burns combustibles, the furniture, everything is combustible. So you want to keep heat sources away from it. You want to keep your electrical appliances not frayed. You got to make sure the wires are safe. The actual plug fits into the socket. It doesn't wiggle where it would spark. I understand this might have been caused by a electric space heater. You want to make sure your space heater electrical is up to date. It has, if it gets knocked over, it's supposed to shut off automatically. It should stand up straight all the time. You want to make sure the wiring is not old. The wiring don't run under rugs. And you want to keep combustibles like curtain, newspapers, at least 3 feet away from a space heater. And never use the oven as a source of heat. That's an open flame, and it could catch on fire to any of the combustibles nearby.
Again, that was retired FDNY Deputy Chief James Bullock. Turning now to what could be an about face. After digging in his heels and continuously saying city students need to be in school, Mayor Eric Adams is now considering a remote option. During a news conference, Adams said the city has to be honest about the substantial number of parents who are not bringing their kids to school. As of Wednesday, attendance district-wide was at 76%, meaning about 220,000 students were not in class. Adams did not offer any details on what a remote option might look like. The Diocese of Brooklyn currently has the city's only remote learning option. The St. Thomas Aquinas Online Catholic Academy is a completely virtual kindergarten through 8th grade school for students across the country. The program first began in September of 2020 after COVID forced students to go to remote. Some 2,400 students enrolled. After schools began to open again, the diocese realized the needs for this kind of online learning were still there, and so they made the academy permanent. There are still more than 160 students enrolled. For more information on the academy and to find out how to enroll your child at St. Thomas Aquinas, just go to stacoa.org. Meanwhile, violence continues to be an issue in New York City, even for the peacemakers. Check out what happens when a Good Samaritan tries to give his coat to a homeless person. Surveillance video shows a man taking off his own coat and placing it on another man sleeping on a Midtown Manhattan sidewalk Wednesday. Moments later, the man thanked the Good Samaritan by throwing him to the ground, punching him, and grabbing his wallet. The suspect has been locked up twice this week and released for similar assault incidents. And in the Bronx, the search is on for these two men who brutally assaulted a 28-year-old woman last Sunday. Surveillance video shows the two men kicking and punching the victim after police say one of the suspects stabbed her multiple times. The woman was rushed to the hospital and is expected to recover. If you have any information regarding this incident, police are urging you to contact the NYPD's Crime Stoppers hotline at 800-577-TIPS. Again, that's 800-577-8477. And from the streets of the Big Apple to the City of Angels train tracks, take a look at this. A modern, great train robbery. Tracks in Los Angeles littered with thousands of packages, but it's not the set of a Western. Thieves are raiding cargo trains. They have been for months, and police say they aren't sure they can stop them. Currents News' Jessica Easthope has the story.
It's not the scene of an explosion or garbage spill, but the scene of a crime. The Union Pacific train tracks in downtown Los Angeles were just cleaned last month, but once again, they're littered with thousands of boxes. This is all that's left of packages belonging to people from all over the country who might be wanting to wrap up the holiday season with gifts still missing. Police say when these trains stop to unload, they're being raided by thieves. The locks to the train can be easily cut, and robbers tear open the boxes, take what they want, and leave what they don't. Like these home COVID tests many could be desperately waiting for. You might ask what police are doing to pump the brakes on this operation. Well, their hands are tied. The LAPD can't intervene unless Union Pacific asks them for help, which they say is rare. And it's been happening for months and in broad daylight. This video shows a man running off with a bag. And this is a Union Pacific police officer chasing down two people who were rifling through the packages. USC campus police also arrested one of the suspected thieves last month, his car filled with stolen goods from the tracks. In a statement, Union Pacific Railroad said, quote, "These rail crimes pose a serious safety threat to the public, our employees, and local law enforcement officers. We've increased the number of Union Pacific special agents on patrol, and we have utilized and explored additional technologies to help us combat this criminal activity." But local law enforcement who work around these tracks say they don't see the thieves shipping off anytime soon. Jessica Easthope, Currents News.
There's a lot more news headed your way. When they warn of rare disorders, prenatal tests are sometimes wrong and unborn babies are paying the price. A new study that could save lives. The March for Life is back in action after last year's hiatus. How you can join and show your support. Plus, Pope Francis took a trip to the record store earlier this week, which got us thinking, what's in his music collection? The answer coming up. Pro-life leaders call it deeply disturbing. An investigation found some prenatal blood tests have alarmingly high false positives for genetic disorders that's leading to the abortion of unborn children. Jessica Easthope has more, including the story of a mother who chose life despite her test results.
This is Shane Gleason on the day of his grammar school graduation. His mom, Debbie, still thinks back in horror to the first thing her doctor said about him.
To this day, I don't believe in abortion, but they're telling me there's no other option because he's going to die anyway.
Debbie was told without a doubt Shane would have trisomy 13, a rare genetic disorder that causes severe intellectual and physical disabilities, that he wouldn't live beyond a week.
They said, but what about your daughter? You know, that's not fair to her to bring her brother into her life, and then a week later, he's dead.
But Debbie's case isn't rare. An analysis done by the New York Times of non-invasive prenatal tests shows they're wrong 85% of the time.
As your risk of carrying a baby with Down syndrome goes down, your chance of actually getting a false positive goes up. And that's the data that they're not really presenting.
Dr. Tara Sander-Lee, the director of life sciences at the Charlotte Lozier Institute, says every day thousands of women across the globe get these false results, prompting them to seek out an abortion.
If I were to listen to them because of a test to end his life, a test that wasn't even true.
If the test is positive, they are often pressured to abort this child.
She calls this a modern form of eugenics.
This is a whole nother layer to the abortion industry that is deceptive, that wants to get rid of people that look and act differently than we do.
The tests are screenings, not a diagnosis. In Iceland, close to 100% of women who get positive results for Down syndrome terminate their pregnancies.
They made it seem like he wasn't even a human.
Currently, more than a dozen states prohibit discrimination abortions based on prenatal screenings. New York is not one of them. Jessica Easthope, Currents News.
For more information on how a baby develops and the chances of a false positive during prenatal testing, you can visit the Charlotte Lozier Institute website at lozierinstitute.org/voyage. The new research comes as thousands are set to march on Washington for next week's March for Life. Last year, the pro-life rally was held online because of COVID and the chaos surrounding the storming of the Capitol building on January 6th. This year, despite the recent spread, many pro-life advocates will still be going to D.C. Participants planning to join in on the January 21st rally on the National Mall should still expect to wear face masks and comply with COVID regulations. While the March for Life never releases projected attendance figures, experts estimate this year's event could reach pre-pandemic levels. The Diocese of Brooklyn is offering a way to get you to the march if you want to go. The round-trip bus will leave the diocesan office that's at 310 Prospect Park West in Brooklyn at 6:30 a.m. You are required to wear a mask for the entire ride to D.C. and back, and each seat costs $25. So grab your tickets now. Just contact Martha Hernandez at 718-281-9540 or email mhernandez@diobrook.org by January 17th. And if you can't go, just remember to stay with us, the Tablet and Currents News, for full coverage of the January 21st march. The national correspondent for the Tablet and Crux, John Lavenberg, will be on the ground there to give us a full report. As COVID-19 hospitalization rates surge across the country, the American Red Cross and other groups say the U.S. blood supply is dangerously low. Officials at the Red Cross say it's the worst crisis they've seen in over a decade. Contributing to the shortage, besides surging cases, are severe winter storms, declines in donor turnout, blood drive cancellations, and staffing problems.
We encourage everyone who is healthy and feeling well to roll up their sleeves and make an appointment. We require masks of all of our staff and our donors and anyone associated with a blood drive, so the donation process is very safe.
Some blood centers across the country are reporting less than a day's supply of certain types of blood. The New York Blood Center is asking donors of all blood types, but especially type O, to make an appointment now to donate. If you're interested, you can find a blood drive close to you or make an appointment online at donate.nybc.org. You can also call 1-800-933-2566. Now to the miracle story of the week. A newborn baby left in a dumpster in New Mexico found alive. But this unbelievable story could have had a much worse ending if it wasn't for three unsuspecting angels being at the right place at the right time. As John Cardinale reports, a nearby store owner has surveillance video of what happened that fateful night.
I said, what are we looking for here? And I turned around, she goes, we're looking for somebody that dumped a black garbage bag in the dumpster. And I said, please do not tell me it was a baby. And she grabbed my shoulder and said yes. But
Joe Embriale is recalling the moment Hobbs police asked to review security video from his store after a baby was believed to have been thrown in it.
It should not have happened. There's other ways to give a baby away, but you don't dump it. You just don't. I'm sorry.
This security video we received from Embriale lays out what happened on January 7th. You can see on the security video it's 2 p.m. when a white car pulls up to the dumpster. A woman exits the driver's side of the car, opens the back passenger door, grabs a black bag, and throws it into the dumpster. She then proceeds to leave.
The girl just drives up like it's a piece of trash, reaches in the back of her car, dumps it, and just drives off. No remorse.
Fast forward to 7:42 p.m. A group of people appear to be looking through the dumpster when they come across a black bag. You can see a woman pull out a baby and begin walking with it. Minutes later, police arrive at the scene.
Luckily we had dumpster divers back there, and they pulled it out, and they didn't even know what was in the bag.
That was John Cardinale reporting. The baby boy's 18-year-old mother is currently under house arrest pending her trial. She pleaded not guilty to charges of attempted first-degree murder and child abuse. New Mexico, as well as most other states, including New York, have safe haven laws which allow a parent to leave their unwanted baby at a hospital, police, or fire station without fear of prosecution. Still to come on Currents News, a late-night excursion for the Holy Father, why Pope Francis was seen hanging out at a record store one night in Rome. Do you have a story idea or want to share a tip? Email us at newstips@desalesmedia.org or call our 24-hour number, 718-517-3122. We'll be right back. Pope Francis took a trip this week, one that had little to do with the Catholic Church. The Holy Father has long lamented that he can't walk around town unnoticed like he used to before becoming the Pope. But as Currents News' Justin McClellan reports, that didn't stop the 85-year-old pontiff from slipping out of the Vatican to make a trip to the record store.
Well, it was late afternoon here in Rome when a white Fiat 500 pulled up here in front of this record store to drop off an unexpected visitor. Just next to the Pantheon sits this unassuming record shop in the center of Rome. Yet among its clientele is the head of the Catholic Church. Pope Francis surprised the shop with an impromptu visit to say hello to some old friends.
Santo Padre!
He didn't come to buy any records. He just came to bless the store. He's been a customer of ours for a long time, and he came to see us.
Tiziana Esposito is the shop owner's daughter. She says the Pope has been coming into their store since he was Archbishop Jorge Bergoglio of Buenos Aires and continued coming back as a cardinal during his trips to Rome.
It was really exciting. I don't know how to describe it. To see the Pope set foot in the store was so powerful. It was so emotional having seen him before and then seeing him now.
The store sells records of all genres and ages, but over the years, Pope Francis has remained loyal to his personal taste in music.
Just classical music. He listens to classical music. He's particularly passionate about opera and great vocalists.
It seems Pope Francis's days of buying records are behind him, as the store owners gave him a box of classical music CDs as a gift. A sign that even for a modern Pope, you just can't beat the classics. While Tiziana says it was exciting to see the Pope walk into her store, she says the best part of it all was being able to see an old friend again. From Rome, Justin McClellan, Currents News.
At the Vatican, His Holiness actually has a huge collection of nearly 2,000 CDs and about 19 albums. That's according to the cardinal who's in charge of curating the library. And he says that while the Pope's personal collection is mostly made up of classical music, it also includes an old album of Edith Piaf's greatest hits, Argentine tango tunes, in particular those composed by Astor Piazzolla, and a 25-disc collection of gospel music by Elvis Presley. Who knew? And that is Currents News. I'm Christine Persichetti. Thank you for joining us because we are putting your faith in the news. Hope to see you again next time.